We sure have.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about it. You want to tell me about it?
I want to wait a little bit longer. I think there's more people that want
Did you play any shows this weekend?
I did. I played a show in San Marcos. Played a bluegrass show.
Oh, there we go. Uh, okay, getting these terms set out with Emily. Okay, yeah, you played in bluegrass out there in the sticks. It's not really the sticks. There's a pretty big college there.
Yeah, I mean, San Marcos is a decent sized.
I used to go there a lot. Then I was not college aged anymore. Um, so yeah, whenever you're ready to let me know what's been going on in the world of Credmark. I'm on the edge of my seat. Ooh, I can hear it in the distance. Somebody's playing the Halloween theme from the John Carpenter Halloween theme. That's spooky. Gotta watch my back for Mike Myers.
All right, I guess we can go ahead and start. So yeah, as y'all may have just seen in the last 20 minutes, we announced that we are partnering with a Cardano-based DEX called Cardax. It's not live yet, as most things on Cardano are not live yet, but I think it represents us sort of declaring that we are not going to be restricting ourselves to Ethereum, that we plan on and expect to deploy the services and products that we're going to make for every chain, and that we're going to be a multi-chain solution, not just an Ethereum solution.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have this partnership means that as soon as Cardano has a live sort of DeFi ecosystem, CMK will be available to anyone who wants to use that ecosystem. And given their progress so far, I imagine that by the time they actually go live, we'll be ready to potentially deploy some of our data to Cardano. And so those on Cardano that have CMK will be able to consume it. So makes sense all around. It was a pretty like bit of low hanging fruit for us. It didn't require too much on our end or their end, frankly. So just happy to put our name in the hat. I know a lot of people in our community have speculated on our involvement with Cardano, and I think this kind of declares that we plan on building with Cardano. So
Yeah, it's interesting because we are somewhat of a secondary. We're like in the DeFi Legos ecosystem. We're sitting at the top. We're one of the top Legos right now because we are essentially doing the risk analysis of other platforms. So we are examining other platforms and then offering that data back. So we're sort of like waiting with bated breath for some of these Cardano DeFi projects to really go live and to start generating, something that we can convert into a trend. But our issue is that those things take a little while, but you want to have the infrastructure set up kind of day one. So this has been a huge effort to get that ready, so that by the time we have a few months of collateralized lending data on Cardano, we can actually take a look at it and be like, okay, how is this different than ETH? Because I expect the behavior to be really different on Cardano than it is on ETH, because it's such a different underlying mechanism that I think it will bubble up. I think it'll be really interesting to see okay, Cardano has these limitations, ETH has different limitations. So how does that affect the sort of like financial services customer and the financial services layer of what's going on? And I, for one, am really, really excited to get some comparative analysis done on those two things. But yeah, we're just in a bit of a holding pattern, but that will be available there. I think the big blocker, right? Because I think Cardax, I forget. I talked to them a few weeks ago, and it was they hadn't launched the Dex yet, but I think the Dex is launching actually before the bridge is even. So we want to wait for. We don't want to be the first ones across the bridge, because we definitely don't want CMK on Cardano to suddenly lose its bridge. So I want something that's a little bit trial by fire in terms of which bridge we end up using. But our friends at Cardax are actually watching that even more closely than we are. So I trust them to make the right decision when it comes to that stuff. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Momin. What other...
Do you want to give us an update on the Yield app that we announced last week?
What's Yield app, Momin?
Well, since you were the one that did this partnership,
I'll do it. Okay. So Yield app is I like being the interviewer and not the interviewee. So Yield app is a platform that is sort of in the CDFI space, which is an exciting kind of new term that is being used to describe DeFi applications that kind of use DeFi under the hood, but have a centralized component to sort of manage funds. They can be semi-custodial. And so what Yield app does is they allow you to deposit a handful of different assets, and then they have like some really, really good guys on the back end who are watching the DeFi platforms underneath, and then essentially generating yield on your behalf, like the best yield on your behalf. So it's sort of like a managed yield service, or like a yield aggregator would be, but it's less self-service than that. It's more curated. And so what they are doing is they are letting us know which underlying DeFi platforms they're interested in, and we are doing risk analysis on each of those DeFi platforms to see if it aligns with what their risk analysts have kind of come up with as well. And so far, that's been going really well, and we'll have output of that effort for everybody to publicly consume, because everything that all the research that we're doing here and all the documents that we're making are going to be publicly available here pretty soon. The next week or maybe 2 weeks, we'll have something out for the community to start consuming. And then so just we're doing snapshots first, and then we'll have sort of live versions of that being updated constantly. And yeah, so that's exciting. We're really excited to have them on board. They have a lot of insights into, they've really, really done their homework on both the best places to get yield and the best places to get yield safely, which is what we're really concerned with. So yeah, we will forward those insights on as we generate them. And yeah, so that's Yield app.
Cool. So we got some folks in here now. Let's see. What did I set the agenda as today? Platform update.
Ooh, platform update.
Is Emily in here? Can we get her up on the stage? Or Neil, do you want to provide a
I can do it. I think she's busy. She's consumed with actually building the platform right now. So so we are making a ton of progress on that. We'll be releasing the game theory for how our protocol is going to work. Essentially what we're building here is, if you've read our white paper, you got most of the details in there, but some of the finer.
Are we allowed to sneak leak who's helping us with our game theory?
Nope. Not yet. That'll happen later. I know it's very exciting. No, I need to. We need to figure out how public that gets made. But essentially, what's going to be happening here is we're going to have data available to people. And in order to get access to that data, what we have done is we have essentially built an on-chain Oauth system. So if you are just looking to use our dashboards or data, you can come in, and if you have staked CMK in your we're essentially issuing keys as NFTs. So you can grab an NFT, put staked CMK in there, and then you can have access to our data. So essentially, instead of paying for data access, we're having people lock up supply in order to do that. So when you are done with our data, when you're like, I have gleaned all the insights I could possibly glean from Credmark, you can actually just unstake your key, and then you lose data access, but you get the rewards that you've gotten, and you get the initial CMK that you deposited back, minus a certain amount of fees, and those fees will be determined by governance. I think we'll probably start with it free, but as time goes on, we're going to want to capture more and more of that supply, and so those fees can actually go back to the other stakers and the DAO. Depending on the proportion that is determined by our governance. So that is how we are setting up sort of a semi-adversarial data marketplace, and we're going to be delivering all of our risk insights, all of our risk data via that mechanism. And we hope that to be to have some like an MVP of that out here very, very soon. There's like because it is like, because when you're doing staking, it's custodial. We are definitely taking our time. We don't want to end up in a situation where we're at all. I mean, we're risk guys, right? So we are a little more careful with where we step than some of these anon teams that will just create a way for people to ape in, and then it was exploited. So any action that we take that's on chain where people will actually be putting their tokens, we want to make sure that that's absolutely as safe as we can make it. Obviously, there's always a certain level of risk when you're doing anything in crypto, but we really prioritize safety over anything else.
So let's talk about some of the risk research we've been, like the actual meat of our platform.
This is a question for you, Norman. How much of this can we talk about right now?
I mean, we can talk about a little bit of it. So we partnered with a I don't know what to really call them, but essentially what they're trying to be is a treasury management service on top of Gnosis safes. They're called CoinShift. And currently they have like a skin that lives on Gnosis that lets you do payroll. We use them ourselves to do our payroll. Gnosis safes are great for safety and security. They are a pain in the ass as far as like actual execution of transactions goes. And they have found a way to bundle transactions into one action, so we can, pay everybody on our team in one go, and not have to sit there and wait for stuff to mine for every individual person on the payroll. And they want to add a treasury management service because a lot of their customers are other protocols and DAOs who have either native token treasuries or money they've raised in USDC or USDT. And since we're in a very fintechy space, it's not smart to just let your assets sit idly. It is like almost imperative that you deploy those assets to earn yield. However, the nature of DeFi is such that an individual can comfortably deploy their capital into some batshit crazy yield generating product, and they only have themselves to blame if it goes wrong. A DAO, if a DAO is actually a DAO or a project is really community driven, technically those funds are, they owe it to their community to deploy those funds appropriately, because more than likely their community has invested some of their own capital to own the token and help the project out. And so that treasury needs to be deployed responsibly. And in that scenario, it is not necessarily prudent or intelligent to just deploy your capital to yield generating products without high quality data and high quality metrics about where you're deploying your capital. So CoinShift came to us and asked if we could potentially do some research and provide a little more insight into some of these platforms, as far as getting some metrics past just like yield and some of the other very bare bones, quote unquote, risk metrics that exist. So we started with Compound and Oauth, and we will be publishing a pretty robust report on both of those platforms with some pretty bold declarations, if I'm being honest myself. I'm going to wait for the actual report to get out before I actually say what those declarations are, but you can expect that report. I'm not going to put a date on it, but in the next week, 10 days, I think we'll be able to put it out. And I think it's going to create some waves in the DeFi community. And it's going to set a precedent and kind of set the standard for like what we should expect, what companies should expect when it comes to like deciding where to put their capital. Like, this is the kind of data that we think should be made available. And so that is sort of this is going to be like the main sort of tent pole of our sort of product and our sort of our risk service that we're going to provide.
Thank you, Momin. Okay, that was very careful. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to tell you guys what we found. It's nuts. Maybe it's not nuts. It's nuts to me.
And this is all just to elaborate. This is a lot of this work was headed up by Hassan, who, because he lives in Australia, is not on this call. So unfortunately, I don't think you guys will ever get to talk to him. But he will put his fingerprints all over this company, and if we have our way, his fingerprints will be all over DeFi for a long time. So and the dude's a rock star, and I'm really excited to be able to share his work with you guys and with the rest of the industry.
Yeah, I honestly have not been this excited in a very long time.
All right, I got a few more housekeeping things, and we can open it up to questions.
Great.
POAPs. So people love POAPs, and POAPs, the company knows that people love POAPs, and they have been overwhelmed with people requesting POAPs, and so they have now started to restrict who can make POAPs. And if you go into the POAP Discord, it is a complete shit show. People are mad and screaming, and I guess it's what happens when you have a successful project. So I guess it's a good problem, but we were lucky enough to be early issuers, so I think we have an inside track on getting POAPs. But all this is to say that I don't know when we'll be able to issue POAPs for these events. Over the next couple weeks, I know Wen Chao is working hard on making sure we are the first in line to get a certain number of POAPs, and we will hopefully retroactively issue them for the chess tournament as well as this. So hopefully you guys are here for more than just the POAPs. And hopefully you're here to learn about Credmark and stay up to date with what we're doing. But I assure you that we're working hard to make sure we can at least offer that to you guys going forward. We have implemented a Tipbot in our Discord. That Tipbot is in the process of creating a CMK bank. And we're going to be leveraging that Tipbot in a variety of ways to engage you guys more. We've been studying other communities, and we think that you guys are wildly intelligent. And, I think there are ways to reward you guys for your efforts and for your skills. So I've been saying this for the last few weeks. It's a process. It's a small company, lots of things going on. So, but in due time, we will have a system in place, and we will be doing little airdrops. So keep your eyes peeled on our Discord for things like that. And finally, that's all I had. So if anyone has questions, there's a community call discussion channel as always. Feel free. We have about 7 minutes left, so I will wait for that.
Neil, do you have anything while we wait for questions
to chat about?
Yeah, I just want to say since this POAP thing is since we're still waiting on this POAP thing, and since we are still waiting on the Tipbot stuff because of just like demand stuff that we have no control over, I'm gonna airdrop some CMK to everybody who came to this call. So thank you for coming.
Snap.
Oh, I'm gonna do that personally, just because we normally give out POAPs and we can't do that right now. So
Wade wants a fireside story from me.
there
I don't
we
know.
go.
I don't know if you actually want that. That could.
So you'll see WCSU is our community manager, so he'll be contacting everybody who's in here, and
Actually,
grabbing.
I think Lexi 5 will do that.
Lexi 5 will do that. Okay.
Yeah, Lexi 5 will be DMing you guys. He's been keeping track of attendance, and we will collect your ETH addresses and send you some ZMK.
Yeah, and we're gonna just have to collect addresses just because we don't have the Tipbot up yet because we're still waiting on that to get finalized. But I think I have figured out a way to not have this cost like $100 per person to do an airdrop. It's very expensive to do airdrops these days. So yeah, just when he sends you that stuff, just send him an address that you want some CMK at, and we'll drop you a little bit. I got to do the math on how much that will be exactly, but yeah.
And for those who were in the chess tournament, we will be sending winners CMK too. Again, apologize for the delay. Big project, small company, things take time. So I appreciate the patience, and this is by far the biggest community call we've ever had. So seriously, super grateful for everyone in this community. It's been a really cool journey, and I mean, we're literally just getting started. I mean, it doesn't say much for me being bullish, but I am quite bullish.
Yeah.
I might be a little biased, but
Alvin's bullish. The little cat is bullish. So let's follow him there. So yeah, Lexi 5 will be collecting all that stuff, and when he is done with that, we will I'll send that out. So the faster we get to that being done, the faster I can send those. So thanks, guys. If there's no questions, I've got more partnerships to create. Oh, we got someone typing. Okay, great. Thanks, guys, so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all. We're gonna do a design competition. Oh, I guess one more thing I should mention. We're gonna bring back the design competition next week, Halloween themed. More details to come. That last design competition was so fucking cool. So I'm definitely wanting to leverage y'all's talents again. So stay tuned, and yeah. Thanks for everything, guys.
Here we go. Halloween themed. All right.
All right. Bye,
See you
everybody.
later.